This is Dolynny TV, friends. Welcome aboard. Good evening, good morning, whenever you're getting a chance to tune into today's video. Glad to have you aboard. A disgusting 9-1 loss from the Oilers against the Colorado Avalanche sets up a meeting against the Columbus Blue Jackets up next, and a game that can't come quick enough for those looking for a better performance from the Oilers. The Blue Jackets so far having a season similar to what the Oilers are going through here in terms of points and standings wise. So maybe a chance to start cranking a W here against the Blue Jackets in the next game. I don't know. The Oilers have been a complete mystery this season, and a man who seems just as mystified by the Oilers as the rest of us at times so far this year is our head coach, Kris Knoblauch. We've talked back in the summer, we've talked kind of over the past little bit here about Kris Knoblauch's job security. I know he just got that brand new 3-year contract back in the summer, but it would seem that for the Oilers, it is one of those situations where, I guess it was fall, I think it was training camp time, but it just seems like no matter what he does, no matter what button he pushes, no matter how many times he juggles the lines, the Oilers players refuse to deliver consistent results for him. The Oilers have struggled all season long to put the puck in the net, all season long to defend consistently or get the goaltending. And you can say these guys aren't good enough. The guys that everyone is saying aren't good enough are the guys that have gone to the Stanley Cup final back-to-back years, right? You're saying Bouchard's not good enough. He's been in back-to-back Cup finals. You're saying Nurse isn't good enough. Well, Nurse has been to back-to-back Cup finals. Stu and Picks, both goaltenders of records in the past 2 Stanley Cup finals. McDavid, Draisaitl, Nugent-Hopkins, both all there for the Cup finals. And of course, yeah, sure, it's easy, convenient, and possibly really a good excuse to use. Tired of them, but good excuse to use to say Zach Hyman's not in the lineup. And if Hyman's in the lineup, all of this is a different story. We're 9-3-4, and life looks really good, and the Oilers, we're not even questioning Kris Knoblauch's job security whatsoever. So friends, before we dive deeper into it, if you are new to the channel today, I want you to consider hitting that subscribe button. Goaling for 20,000 subscribers by the end of this hockey season, so I would appreciate that if you could hit that. But what we know, Kris Knoblauch, like I said, the line juggling is exactly what we saw with, Dave Tippett, Todd McLellan, Ken Hitchcock, and Jay Woodcroft over the past several years before, Kris Knoblauch arrived on scene and rejuvenated a team that was destined at the point that he joined for the biggest failure in franchise history leading up to that point. And, somehow, some way, he avoids disaster and gets us on the right track and gets us all the way to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. I don't think enough people are appreciating exactly what Kris Knoblauch has done here in Edmonton in his limited time. But that said, the line juggling's back. The blender, Dave Tippett, he still has a key to Rogers' place somehow, some way, because he keeps sneaking his premium brand of blenders onto the Oilers bench for whatever coach wants to use it. And seems like that's the case here with Kris Knoblauch doing what he's done to start the year. I get that we've had some injuries. I get that, the guys have underperformed at times, but, there's really no excuse for doing what Kris Knoblauch has done to the extent that he has done it so far this year. And it's just, again, a pattern of which all the previous coaches have fallen into. And all I'm saying here, really, if you want the point of the video, 4.5 minutes in, whatever, is the fact that when coaches start doing this in Edmonton, the players start quitting on them. We just lost 9-1, and we know how when the players quit on the coach, what happens here. And that means, the job security once again becomes a big question for Kris Knoblauch. Because if the Oilers players quit on another coach, as we saw under Jay Woodcroft, well, what happens? You fire and you hope you find somebody else. And right now, I don't even know who else out there could be capable of leading this team to a Stanley Cup final outside of Kris Knoblauch. I don't care if you want to say he's a rookie. No, that's BS. You know what? Kris Knoblauch is a guy that's been to back-to-back Stanley Cup finals. And you want to say led by Connor McDavid and Draisaitl? Sure. But why aren't those two guys leading right now? They're doing about nothing much out there as with the rest of the team. So, it's kind of just maddening that for another year in a row, and I know we didn't have quite the same extent. I think I was called crazy for questioning it last year in October, November, December when the Oilers were kind of ho-hum. But this year, again, patience has run thin, similar to the year previous from last year where Jay Woodcroft was fired. And, people are frustrated, and rightfully so. This Oilers team, no matter if you want to say they lost Perry, lost Kane, lost Fogle, lost Holloway, lost Broberg, whoever you want to say they lost, they are capable of much more than they have given us this season. That is the end all be all here. Is I don't care what your excuse is. I don't care what their excuse is. I don't care what Kris Knoblauch's excuse is. Maybe I care to hear what Stan Bowman's excuse is. But no matter what the excuse is here, this team is capable of more. This team can be a better product on the ice. I don't care if you think they're going to sweep the Stanley Cup final with this team. I don't care if that's, an unrealistic expectation at this point. No, but they are better than they have shown through 16 games, 20% of the season, by the way. And Zach Hyman still hasn't gotten in the lineup. And again, I don't know where anyone's ever going to get upset at this team for lying to us as much as they do, right? Like, it seemed like Hyman was going to be ready for the season opener, and then it's like, no, November 1st, and now it's November 9th, and he's still nowhere close, really. And I'm going to say, there's been trickles that he's getting closer, but I don't think he's anywhere close to playing for this Edmonton Oilers team this season. And it's just embarrassing that we keep believing what this team shoves down our throats, whether it be, this is what's wrong, or this player's just out until then, and then he's out another 2 months, 2 weeks, 2 days, whatever it takes. Never is it the actual date they give us. And it's really, really frustrating that every single year we find ourselves in one of these kind of holding patterns every single start of the year. And at some point it just got to change. And unfortunately, what happens, and what might be happening again this year, is the players grow frustrated too. And Kris Knoblauch, a coach who has done nothing but succeed in Edmonton, is going to get himself in a lot of hot water here and probably get himself fired if things don't turn around. And again, it's not his fault. Yes, I understand he hasn't been perfect, but the players at some point, right, Connor and Leon have to take hold of that locker room and just own it, right? Like, the coaching staff can only do so much if the players aren't willing to cooperate. And it just seems like no matter what the coaching staffs have tried for the Oilers over the past 5-6 years, at some point they just, we're tired of listening to you, get us somebody else. And that is kind of where it's starting to feel like it's trending here with Kris Knoblauch and the Edmonton Oilers. And, the line juggling is indicative of that. I'm not saying that's the cause, but I'm saying that's something that we know is a patternistic kind of situation where, it's coming if the results don't come. So we're hoping Zach Hyman gets back here soon and saves Kris Knoblauch's job, because man, oh man, am I tired of watching Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid, and whoever the coaching staff feels like throwing on their right wing as the only line that gets any ice time in Edmonton for that given game. So, friends, thanks for being aboard today. For right now, though, I am up on out of here.